After working with hundreds of enterprise planning teams over the past 20 years, what I can tell you is that managing all new ideas coming into your organization is one of the hardest parts of running an enterprise today. You've got submissions coming from every direction, no real way to evaluate them at scale, and the ideas that should be moving forward keep getting dropped because someone with more seniority pushed for something else. But don't worry, because I'm about to show you exactly how today you can finally use AI agents to handle the entire idea pipeline. So your team can stop drowning in submissions and only work on the projects that actually move the business forward. So before we get into the system that fixes this, you need to understand why managing ideas is even a problem at enterprise scale. Most companies today only pull ideas from 2 or 3 places, which are usually the line of business leaders, IT, maybe a strategy team, but ideas can actually come from way more places, like from your customers, from your frontline employees, the data your operational systems are producing, newly deployed AI agents that have insights and new ideas, market trends, competitors, even your investors can be the source of great ideas. The problem is that the moment you try to pull from all of these sources, you end up with way too many ideas than your team can actually review and manage. There are 3 specific ways that happens, which I want to walk you through quickly. The first thing that goes wrong is the submission process itself, because intake forms were never built for someone outside of the planning team to use. For example, a customer service rep on the phone all day is going to hear the same complaint from 50 different customers, but they're never going to sit down and spend 3 hours filling out a project requirements template to submit it as an idea or research and propose the business case at the level your finance team will require for evaluation. So that idea just stays in their head, even that could have saved the company millions of dollars in churn. And the ideas that do get submitted are usually from the usual suspects, the same senior people who know exactly how to get these ideas approved. The second is the context problem, because a rough idea on its own is impossible to evaluate. For example, an engineer might submit an idea to automate a manual workflow, but it shows up as one sentence with no business case, no rough cost, no stakeholders identified, and no sense of how urgent it is. So whoever's reviewing it has no way to make a decision, and no idea sits in a queue for weeks waiting for someone to manually go and pull all that context together. And the third is the prioritization problem, because without a clear ranking signal, decisions default to politics. Whoever has the most senior backing or argues the hardest for their idea while they're in the room, instead of the idea that would move the business forward the most. This is why most enterprises stay with the 3 traditional sources, because opening up the idea pipeline without a system to manage it and democratize it makes everything worse. So now let me show you what it looks like when AI agents handle the full pipeline of ideas, starting with how an idea gets submitted and enriched. So this is where Force Equals comes in, which is the AI-powered enterprise planning platform that I built to handle this problem for enterprise teams. The whole point of the system is to let anyone in the company submit an idea in plain language, have AI agents do all the work of building out the context behind it, and give leadership a clear ranked view of what should move forward. So let me walk you through it, starting with the submission. Submitting an idea takes about 30 seconds because there's no form to fill out. Anyone in the company can drop in a rough idea the same way they'd explain it to a coworker over Slack. So a customer service rep can describe a recurring complaint, an engineer can flag a workflow that needs to change, or a sales lead can submit a competitor move, or even a customer can suggest an idea. And they don't need to know anything about project planning to do it. Once the idea is in the system, the AI agents immediately start building out context behind it automatically in under a minute. The agents lay out the business problem the idea is solving, identify the stakeholders who need to be involved, and explain the early risks and constraints. They also build a rough business case and ROI model, looking at technical constraints and pull in best practices for the type of project. So the goals, solutions, the whole thing's done in under a minute, while a project manager used to spend around 2 weeks pulling all this together. Every idea that comes into the system, no matter how rough it started, shows up to leadership with enough context to make a decision on. By the way, if you want to try Outforce Equals yourself, I'll leave a link at the top of the description where you can try it for free. Anyways, let's keep going. Now that the idea has the full context behind it, the platform takes it and ranks it against every other project in your portfolio. The system ranks each idea based on your company's strategy, your organizational goals, OKRs, budgets, constraints. It also pulls in current data from your operations, the market, what your competitors are doing. So the ranking is based on what's happening in and impacting your business right now. And it gives you a clear recommendation on every idea, which is either move it forward, kill it, or send it back for more information. The portfolio view also catches redundancy and overlap automatically. For example, if 3 different teams have submitted variations of the same idea, the system flags them together and shows you how to combine them. If an idea depends on another project that hasn't yet been approved, the system flags that dependency before you commit resources, which means you stop approving duplicate work and you stop dropping good ideas because nobody noticed they were connected. And once an idea gets a clear recommendation to move forward, it doesn't just sit there waiting for the planning team to pick it up. The same AI agents keep building out the plan, refining the business case, keeping the stakeholders list up to date, managing sign-offs, letting you know of the risks and changes as more context comes in, updating presentations, communication assets, and documents so handoffs are more informed. So by the time the idea is ready to be handed off to execution, every decision has been documented, every requirement has been confirmed, and the project goes straight into development, project management, and if required, procurement without anyone having to rebuild it. The whole point of running your idea pipeline this way is that you can finally pull from every source we talked about at the beginning without overwhelming your team. You stop losing the best ideas because the submission process was too painful. You stop prioritizing based on who has the most seniority or power. You stop having execution teams move forward on projects that should not have been pushed forward to begin with. Every executive is surprised when a great idea from an unexpected source rises to a priority and delivers critical impact for the business. And now you have the infrastructure to make that happen. So if you want your idea pipeline to work exactly like this, you can try Outforce Equals for free by clicking the first link below this video. And if you want to go deeper on this and watch my full guide to agile enterprise project management using AI, then check out this next video.